We're talking farm attacks in South Africa for February 2024. 17 attacks, including 3 murders, and we're also including 1 attack in Namibia. I'm also going to discuss 3 attacks that was in the rural areas, which is not necessarily farm attacks, but I feel that's included in the video as it gives perspective about what is going on in rural areas. Witkrys Farm Attack and Murder Statistics Group, in conjunction with the Urban Buck Channel, presents Farm Attacks and Murders in South Africa for February 2024. Please take note of our disclaimer, and we need to remind you that viewer discretion is advised in this video. First up, we're going to discuss the Farmmurders. Hugo van Sittard was 71 at the time of his death. The incident occurred on the farm boxer pits in the Kaimus area. That's in the Northern Cape, about halfway between Uppington and the renowned Agrabis waterfalls. That was on the 4th of February 2024. He was reported missing on that day, and at the same time, in a few days after that, a stranger was noted driving his vehicle. His body was eventually found on the 8th of February on a neighbouring farm. It was speculated the circumstance leading to his death might have been a wage dispute. The next case is that of Hamilton Kambana. He was 54 years old at the time of his death, and the incident occurred in the area of Dennilton, halfway between the towns of Bronkhorstspruit and Groblersdal. He was a chicken farmer in the area, and he was shot on the night of 9th February 2024 and left for dead after he was robbed as well. Then, under very strange circumstances, an unknown male was shot at the tea estate at the Kwari, north of Durban in KwaZulu-Natal, on February the 13th, 2024. According to eyewitnesses, the victim was having drinks with a few friends when 4 attackers stopped in their vehicle and approached the group. The victim fled into nearby brush, to which he was followed by his attackers, and he was shot at point-blank range. Farm attacks for this period, and we start off with the Gauteng area. And there were 5 attacks in the Gauteng province for this period. First up was the 8th of February at the Boekenhout of Agricultural Holdings in Kameeldrift West, which you might know from previous videos is quite a hotspot west of Pretoria. A farm worker woke up when 3 intruders tried to enter his house through a window. The man was shot and hospitalized afterwards, and the intruders got away with cash, a welding machine, and a motor vehicle battery. Also in the same area, we're not sure where exactly in Kameeldrift West, an unknown female victim was attacked, and an attacker tried to hold her mouth closed. When she tried to remove his hand, he threw her on the floor and tried to strangle her. We moved to the northeast of Pretoria in the area of Boekenhoutskloof. On Monday, February the 12th, a 78-year-old Tanya Borman was shot when 2 attackers broke down a security gate to gain access to a home. Confronting them, 2 shots were fired, of which 1 hit her in the legs. The attackers fled with tires of a pickup truck and the quad bike. The quad bike was later found back. 2 days later, in the same area, on the night of February the 14th at around 1 o'clock, a single attacker breached the house of an unknown 83-year-old woman and the 54-year-old daughter. The 83-year-old woman, called on the name of Jesus, causing the attacker to flee. The daughter rushed to aid her mother in the attack and was pushed aside when the attacker fled. In the process, she was hit in the leg. Okay, we moved to the East Rand on February the 19th, 2024, in the Sandra area, that is east of the town of Springs, which is nowadays called Itwatwa. Around 1 o'clock in the morning, a male victim was attacked by an unknown number of assailants while he was still asleep. He was assaulted, bound, and a bag pulled over his head while his attackers ransacked the house. The safe was emptied of several firearms, and the house was virtually stripped of anything of value. On top of that, his dog and cat were also poisoned, and they finally stole his car, which was used as transportation for the stolen goods. We moved to the Northwest Province, which was quite busy in the last couple of months, with a lot of cases coming out of that. And for this month, only 3 of the attacks for February 2024 originates from the Northwest Province. Ockert van der Westhuizen, 64, He's from Kroondal in the Rustenburg area, which is about halfway. Kroondal is about halfway between Pretoria and Rustenburg. That was on the evening of January 6, 2024. He got up around 3 o'clock in the morning to make himself a cup of coffee, and hearing a sound outside, he went outside to investigate and was overcome by 4 attackers. One of them assaulted him with a brick. He screamed for help, and neighbors fired a shot at which the perpetrators fled with a cell, Orchid's wallet, and a decoder. Chris Neester was attacked in the Lichtenburg area on his farm on the afternoon of February 16, 2024. According to reports, he terminated the employment of a farm worker. The worker later claimed he was acting in a racist way and used the K-word. A group of EFF members awaited him at the farm. As he stopped, they dragged him out of his vehicle and assaulted him. Apparently, the EFF member of parliament was in the area, was in the scene as well, but later the attack was interrupted by the Community Policing Forum and the SAPS. He was taken up for observation, but fortunately sustained only light injuries. Herman Lemmer, that was in the northwest, but we're not sure which town because the details were sketchy, and we tried to get more details, but unfortunately not. 3 attackers tried to gain entry to his property through a window at around 3 o'clock in the morning. That was on February 27, 2024. This activated the alarm, and Herman reacted that, but the attackers fled into the dark. They later returned, and fire was exchanged with the two parties. The CPF reacted as well, and one suspect was handed over to the police. No injuries was reported. We move over to KwaZulu-Natal, and there were 2 attacks here. Like I said earlier on, the one attack here was the murder of the unknown male victim. And we're talking about this morning Alet Potgieter. She was 69. She's from the farm Mooikiers in the Wasbank area. That's in the north of KwaZulu-Natal. On the morning of February 27th, Alet was home alone at around 9 o'clock while her husband went to church, when initially 4 attackers overcame her outside at an outside building. They assaulted her with any object they could lay their hands on, including dairy buckets. She was threatened with a firearm, after which she was tied up and dragged back inside the house. Here, in the house, 2 more attackers joined the group, and she was forced to open the gun safe, after which they fled the scene with a 9mm pistol, 3 shotguns, and the 303 rifle. Moving to the area of Mpumalanga, and the scene was at the Kruger Mpumalanga International Airport. This was the case of Johan Leroux on February the 11th, 2024. At around 1700, 5 o'clock in the afternoon, Johan leaves through the gates of KMIA on his way home. At the gate, he is hijacked, and the unknown number of perpetrators fires 7 shots at him. He's taken to his house, tied up, and eventually left for dead after they ransacked the house. He also had firearms in his vehicle. He regained consciousness sometime later and managed to free himself, after which he walked 2 kilometers to a farm worker's cottage who called his son to render assistance. He was admitted to hospital, and though serious at the time, was cognizant and was conversing freely about his ordeal. Phones, laptop, and a number of firearms and the pickup truck, which was later found back, was stolen. Eastern Cape, there were 2 attacks. The first case was the case of a farmer called Wimpy. This was on the farm Berlin in the East London area on February the 2nd, 2024. He was returning from town when a single attacker opened fire on him while he was not even out of the vehicle. One round splintered and penetrated his chest via his shoulder, causing massive internal bleeding. Such was the bleeding that they were making plans to evacuate him to a larger hospital in Port Elizabeth, but he was later stabilized and remained in East London. He's since, as far as you know, discharged from the hospital. Hayden Luck, 48, from a farm Mooiplaas in East London, occurred on February the 20th, 24. The Mooiplaas community near East London has been left reeling in shock after a farmer was tied up, beaten and burnt with hot water by a robbery gang on Tuesday. Details of the brutal attack on Hayden Luck emerged after a high-speed chase and shootout between police and the fleeing robbers, after a getaway vehicle collided with a minibus taxi full of passengers in the Beacon Bay area injuring 16 people. We're moving on to Namibia. South Africa has long since had a very good relationship and a very good history with the country of Namibia, even after their independence. And farm attacks and murders in Namibia is also thus included in our statistics. The case that we're discussing is that of Nikolai and Ayana. That was on the farm Krummek, 40 kilometers south of Windhoek. That was on February the 7th, 2024. An unknown number of attackers armed with AK-47s robbed the couple of valuables after tying them up. They fled with the couple's VW Caddy. Now this was in the beginning of February. We since learned that in the beginning of March there were also some attacks. So I hope that's not also creating a pattern in the country of Namibia. As I said, murders and attacks in the rural areas are included in this, even though it's not included in the farm attack statistics for South Africa. The first was that of a German tourist. He was 74 years old and murdered in the Lephalale area, which is also close to the town of Northam in the Limpopo province. Apparently he made his way south out of Botswana and made friends with the local, asking for assistance with regards to accommodation. One thing led to another, and they had a couple of drinks, and later the local guy was joined by 2 other people. He was found the next morning on a very quiet road, his vehicle deserted and his body dragged into the bushes. This was outside of the town of Northam on February 25th, 2024. Then in the Klerksdorp area, also an incident with very little information. A man was found shot on the Klerksdorp-Orkney Road near the Arniston Road. When services arrived, he was already dead and his pregnant female companion was slightly injured. Then our final case was that of a farmer and his family. They were on their way to a well-deserved holiday in KZN when they were pulled over by a police vehicle with blue lights. The police turned out to be fake police, which is the case many times in South Africa. And he was dragged out of his vehicle, assaulted severely and wounded eventually in the leg. They also threatened to shoot his teenage daughter if he did not give them cash or anything of value that they wanted. He was hospitalized later, and you'll see the little video clip that we've got inserted. Unclear where the incident occurred, and this was reported to be on February the 2nd, 2024, somewhere en route. The content of this video is factual and was tested against various sources. If there's anything that you can contribute to this video or maybe in future with regards to farm attacks, you can contact me directly. I work with this every day. This is my passion. This is my work. There will be a number down in the description box. And if there's any areas in this video, it was purely accidental and not, and we do apologize for that. I would also like to make use of the opportunity to thank the studios of Boer Media for the opportunity to shoot with them, and also the various sources and partners, Volkskrag News, who is also going to be responsible for the distribution of this video, and also friends and people abroad that is supporting the South African cause. I know in the United States, Poland, I know now in Germany, there are various countries, and also that is purely due to the fact that Volkskrag News is available, it's read in 50 countries around the globe, and it's also available in more than 15 languages already. Thank you so much for this opportunity.